Will we see the long-awaited Stark reunion in Season 7? What is Littlefinger plotting in Winterfell? And what will happen north of the Wall? These are my predictions for House Stark and the North in Season 7. Hi everyone, this is Robert. Welcome to Deep Geek, particularly if you're a first-time viewer. Please do consider subscribing if you enjoy the video. This is the third and final prediction video I'll be doing for Season 7. You can find the other two on the Lannisters and the Targaryens on my channel page. When we get to the season itself, I'll be doing 2 videos a week. The first will be my usual detailed breakdown of the episode. The second will be more like a Q&A video, picking up on comments and questions from my Patreons and here in the comments section. But today we're looking at House Stark and what will be going on in the North. I'm basing these predictions on where all the characters' story arcs are going and what we learned from the official trailers. So don't expect leaked photos, but do expect some spoilery speculation. And I think we'll start Season 7 very much in the shadow of what happened at the end of Season 6. The Battle of the Bastards may have ended up being a decisive victory for Jon and the Starks, but let's not forget that the majority of the Northern Lords, including large houses like the Karstarks and the Umbers, actually supported Ramsay. So the first issue for the new King of the North to deal with is what to do about these treasonous houses. I expect the first episode or so of the season will have a lot of toing and froing on the issue. I can't imagine Lyanna Mormont being particularly forgiving, and Sansa seems to have quite a hard streak to her these days, but Jon's priority here, as it will be for the entire season, is to gain unity against the threat from the north of the Wall, and I think he will err on the side of forgiveness. The other piece of business hanging over from last season will be the burial of Rickon in the crypts, and I do wonder whether they will finally be able to lay Robb's bones to rest as well. But soon after this, I expect Jon and Davos to head down to Dragonstone to meet Daenerys. Dany will want Jon to acknowledge her as rightful queen, and he will be more focused on getting her help in the fight against the White Walkers, including getting access to the Dragonglass at Dragonstone. And this means that for most of the season, Sansa will be in charge at Winterfell. And I think we will see a slow-boiling plot where Littlefinger is trying to gain control of the North by marrying her, which we know he wants, and by driving a wedge between Sansa and Jon. He already started this last season, remember, by twice reminding her that Jon is not a true-born Stark, so she really has the better claim to Winterfell. He'll probably try something similar with Jon while he is there, which may be what prompts this response from him in the crypts. Perhaps he even repeats to Jon what he hinted at to Sansa a couple of seasons ago, that he doesn't think Jon really is Ned Stark's son. He's right, of course, but I don't think Jon will believe it or want to hear it. So I think we will see Littlefinger's plan start to bear some fruit. Sansa will be desperate to keep the fragile Northern Alliance together, and Littlefinger can threaten to take the Knights of the Vale back down south, so she may agree to marry him. But there will be something different about the relationship between Sansa and Littlefinger this season. Previously, she has been dealing with him on her own, but during Season 7, I expect that we will see many comings and goings at Winterfell. In fact, as a random prediction, I think one of the casting calls for the guard of a city gates may be for Winterfell, and we will watch as he becomes more and more confused by all the comings and goings. We will see Brienne return to Sansa's side as her faithful knight, along with Pod, and the Brotherhood without banners are also making their way north. Remember that, despite his gruff exterior, the Hound was actually quite gentle with Sansa in King's Landing, saving her from being raped and then offering to smuggle her away from the city when he escaped himself. And then, of course, we will get the big Stark reunion. We last saw Arya disposing of Walder Frey and his sons at the end of Season 6, and I think this shows that she isn't just coming back to Westeros to finish off her kill list. for Walder Frey's children certainly weren't on her list, but instead has turned towards killing anyone that she thinks has wronged her family. And I think this is how the Littlefinger and Sansa plot will play out. For it is undeniable that Littlefinger has wronged the Starks in many, many ways, but he has kept it well hidden under a layer of lies. There are many ways he could be found out, but I think the most likely is that the Hound, who witnessed Littlefinger betray Ned Stark, tells Arya about it, and she dispenses justice. The priority then for Sansa will be to keep the Knights of the Vale in the north, but I think she will manage to sweet-talk Robin Arryn into it, particularly if she had already technically married Littlefinger and become Lady Protector of the Vale. Incidentally, if this does happen, it's worth pausing to note how powerful, on paper at least, Sansa will have become. She will be the oldest legitimate Stark, Lady Protector of the Vale, and first and only wife of Tyrion Lannister, who is, depending on whose camp you're in, hand to the Queen and heir to Casterly Rock. The other Stark returning to Winterfell is, of course, Bran. We saw him in the trailers just north of the wall with Meera, and then sat next to the weirwood tree in Winterfell. When we last saw him, he went back in a vision to see the birth of Jon Snow at the Tower of Joy. For the reasons I set out in my predictions video for Team Targaryen, I don't think Jon will find out about his parentage in this season, but I think Bran and Sam, when he returns from Oldtown, will manage to figure out the truth of what happened. I think Sam will find some evidence of Rhaegar and Lyanna marrying, or having a baby when he is in the Citadel, but probably not realise the significance of it. He will probably return to the north for other reasons, perhaps because he has discovered the secret to making Valyrian steel and thinks that this is enough of a game changer for him to abandon his studies and trek back up to the wall for. Anyway, I think we will see more visions from Bran this season. Perhaps one of Rhaegar and Lyanna marrying, or of them meeting at the tourney at Harrenhal. I hope we also get a bit more about the history of the White Walkers, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. We will definitely see him try out his powers as the Three-Eyed Raven. We saw him in the trailer apparently warging into a raven and spying on the Night King. This, incidentally, is what I think the Three-Eyed Raven meant when he told Bran that although he would never walk again, he would fly. He didn't mean, as some speculated, that he would fly on a dragon. But the Night King seems to see Bran, and he immediately jumps back into his own body in scenes reminiscent of Season 6 when the Night King grabbed him and marked him. This is a reminder that Bran did not finish his training, and still doesn't have much of an idea what he is doing. He desperately needs a mentor. Now, this is a long shot, but the absence of Meera in this picture does make me wonder whether, having safely returned Bran to Winterfell, she has returned home to her father, Howland Reed. Howland Reed hasn't really featured in the show, but in the books he is a central character, albeit off-screen at all times. There is reason to believe that he would be able to show Bran how to use his powers, and a lot more related to what is really going on. I hope that Bran's relatively small role in the trailers isn't reflective of his role in the season. He should be crucial to what is to come. But let's return to Jon, because it's clear that he and a small band of companions, including Beric, Tormund and the Hound, travel north of the Wall. This isn't a preemptive attack, the group is far too small. It is far more likely to be a mission to get some proof of the White Walkers in an attempt to get the Southern Lords, and particularly Daenerys, to turn their attention north of the Wall. This feels like a second half of the season kind of plot, and it's clear that it doesn't all go entirely to plan. The group are surrounded on more than one occasion, are running, presumably from the Whites, and here Jon appears all on his own against a small army. I would be shocked if everyone returns alive. We have a few hints as to what happens. In my Beric Dondarrion video, I set out some reasons why I think he may die, bringing back Jon from the dead once more. The fire in the background of this picture also looks like it might be dragon fire, so perhaps Dany rides to the rescue. And finally we have this shot of what looks like Jon riding away badly hurt on a horse. As far as we can tell, the group of companions didn't arrive by horse, so we have to ask where it came from. It's the same colour as Benjen's from last season, so I think there's a fair chance that, like when he rode in to save Bran, he will ride in to save Jon, giving him his horse and perhaps even sacrificing his own life or unlife or half-life or whatever he has in that process. The upshot of all of this will be several serious casualties, but I think that they will return with the evidence they need. And I think that the lords and ladies of Westeros will start to rally against this new threat. Not all of them, of course. I can imagine Cersei just seeing this as an opportunity for her rivals to kill each other, and I'm not sure Euron cares enough to join in a joint effort either. But Daenerys and Jaime and Tyrion and many others will join up. And they will probably think that they have some time, for the wall itself still stands between the living and the dead. But I think they will be wrong. The closing shot of Season 6 was of Daenerys' invasion of fire, finally crossing over the narrow sea, and there will be a clear symmetry to having the closing shot of Season 7 being the Night King's invasion of ice, finally crossing over into the lands of men. How will he bring down the wall? Well, the magic that prevents the dead from passing through sounds suspiciously like the spell around the Three-Eyed Raven's cave. The Night King broke that by branding Bran. Will he be able to do something similar this time? I suspect he may, and with Bran still not entirely in charge of his powers, it's probably actually quite likely. So, as Season 7 closes, there will be 3 Starks at Winterfell. Their hold on the north secure once more after Littlefinger's demise. This is the wolf pack that Sansa was speaking of in the voiceover for the trailer. It wasn't a prophecy or a threat, it was a call for the Starks to stand together. The Faceless Woman, the new Three-Eyed Raven, and the Lady of Winterfell. And the forces of humanity, led by Jon and Daenerys, will be heading north to join with them. And the Night King awaits them all. What do you think? What do you think the Starks will be facing in Season 7? And what will happen north of the wall? Let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to support me in producing more videos like this, as well as getting access to more of my content, please click through to my Patreon page. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to know when my next video comes out, then please click on the subscribe button and make sure your notifications are enabled. Thanks for watching. That's all for this time. I'll see you again soon.